I think the most divisive question I can ask right now is whether one good game locks in Shedeur to start the rest of the season, because I think you could ask 10 different people, and I think you'd get some iteration of 10 different answers.
Well, here's the easy and the right answer, Nick. The easy and right answer is yes. It locks it in. One good game, and we can maybe talk about what that exactly looks like, but one game where everyone walks away and you're unequivocally like, this looked like an offense, and this is how this is supposed to look, then yes, Shedeur Sanders, congratulations. You get to start for the rest of the season.
This is going to be one of the arguments that we have where you're saying what it should be, and I'm saying what it will be.
Well, and so this is hard. This has been the whole crux of it all. Is like we have to do 3 different conversations when we're having these Browns conversations. It's like, what do you think? Also, what do you think Kevin Stefanski will do? Also, what do you think Andrew Berry and Haslam will do? And it's like that. It becomes very confusing.
In fairness, I saw enough from Shedeur's last start, the good. I'm talking about the final drive.
Yeah.
Then unless he just looks unplayable, I'd rather watch what I saw on that final drive from Shedeur for the final 7 games of the season than see Dillon Gabriel again in a starter capacity. If he wants to be the backup, that's fine, because I think that's his role.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think this goes back to the same trend we've realized. Dillon Gabriel has one good game, and that satiates Stefanski for 4 or 5 games, right? I think with Shedeur, I think one good game's nice. I think one good game just buys him a second game. I really do. And now maybe 2 good games in a row.
It's a crime if it goes down that way.
But I think that's the way it's going to go down. I think they're going to make him earn every opportunity here, as opposed to Dillon, who I think in their opinion has already earned it.
I think what he's going to argue is that we need to see him be more consistent, and the only way to see that then is to actually play him, though. You know what I mean? Like if the end result of a really good game on Sunday, I think they'll turn around and be like, well, where was that for the half of a game last week? And then they'll point to the preseason where he had one really good game and one really not good game. And I think the inconsistency part of his story is going to pop up, and I would say the only way you can have him counter that is actually play him and see what happens.
Well, I think the problem here is I think we're looking at this game as the totality of the Shedeur experience. It's just the tip of the iceberg for the Browns. It's apparent that there was something in the pre-draft process he didn't like. There was something about Shedeur that he just went and said, that kid's not NFL ready. Or maybe that kid's just not the kind of quarterback I want.
Oh, by the way, did you see what Stephen A. Smith said yesterday, if you believe his sources? Do you believe his sources? Sure. And depending on what he says. Yeah. He says that Stefanski obviously loved Dillon Gabriel. That part's a check mark. But he says Andrew Berry's the one that loves Shedeur.
Oh, I feel like that's
from what he's been told, Andrew Berry's the one that loves
I feel
Shedeur.
Like that makes total sense. I feel like I've said that before.
Well, I mean, he's saying as if he's talked to people in the building.
No, I know. I mean, so I'm not surprised at all, because that was always my read on it.
My read on it was always it was Haslam that loved Shedeur. And I didn't know about Andrew Berry.
Yeah.
Andrew Berry was a question mark to me.
To me, what I think tipped it off was the sideline interactions between Andrew Berry and Shedeur in the preseason.
Where they seemed genuine. They were talking to each other. They seemed like they were genuinely pulling for each other.
That was a genuine reaction between the two of them. And every time I've seen Shedeur and Kevin speak, it's been very clinical.
Is this why Andrew Berry hasn't spoken the entire season? He didn't want to accidentally slip up and let it be like, yeah, I love Shedeur.
No,
I've always loved Shedeur.
I still think Andrew Berry hasn't spoken because they're going to pin this all on Kevin Stefanski and move off him at the end of the season.
I guess I hadn't been looking at Andrew Berry as the supporter that Stephen A. was trying to paint him as.
Does that change your feeling on Andrew Berry?
Not really, because I don't really trust much of what Stephen A. is putting out there at the moment anyway, but it is an interesting little angle to it.
But so Sunday's game is not the whole enchilada, it's the tip of the iceberg. Meaning that if Kevin Stefanski has negative feelings, whether it's about Shedeur in general or just Shedeur's readiness, that goes all the way back to March. And so for Shedeur to overcome that for 8-9 months of, hey, you're not ready. Kevin has proven he can be stubborn. He can be stuck in his way of thinking about certain players. Well, then one game can't possibly be enough to overcome whatever reservations Kevin has about Shedeur. It just can't be.
Well, it's going to have to be, because if the offense looks like it has a life and has something to it, then I need Stefanski to wake up his eyes. And I need to actually have him see if it looks as good as we're describing this one game looking, then he's got to be, we always use the word, like, is he sabotaging Shedeur? That's not what would be happening. He'd be sabotaging himself. is what would be happening here. Like if you're just going to play blind to it and just pretend that it's not existing because you want to put Dillon in, then you're just being shooting yourself in the foot.
I think one good play or one good game does earn him another game as starter. It just doesn't earn you the final 6 games of the season.
If we're talking about this game being as good as we're describing, then it's better than anything we've seen out of 6 games with Dillon Gabriel. So even if he reverses course and then has a bad game against the 49ers after this Raiders game, hey, Titans game, that's your rebound game. Go back out there and show us what you did in that Raiders game. Do it against the Titans.
I don't think that's how Kevin's going to handle
Let's build
this.
off of this. Well, and that's what I'm saying.
I think you need building blocks across each game. I think he's going to have 2 or 3 solid games in a row to avoid going back to Dillon Gabriel.
But if he does that, if he instantly goes, all right, one bad game, moment you have one bad game, I guess you're out now, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're sabotaging yourself if that's the case.
No, I mean, he's not going to see it that way because he believes in Dillon Gabriel.
But this is why I'm telling him now he needs to wake up. He needs to make sure that he
he'll listen.
And he might not because he's stubborn. He might not because the ego that he doesn't have.
No, come on.
This ego that he doesn't have. This big bad ego
that he
doesn't have.
Gosh dang it, Blaine, dang it. No! He's the sweetest man in the world.
He needs to figure this out. These are the tests you get to go ahead and try to pass. And by the way, you know what I think is going to change, and maybe we'll get him on the Shedeur side of things. The amount of people, it's going to piss me off, you know this, but the amount of people that after, if the game goes as well as we're describing it, there will be people lining up to credit Stefanski for this.
Oh, no, that's the beauty of all this.
And that's his drug.
Yeah.
His drug in all of this is the people lining up to be like, wow, you really handled this the right way, did you not? What a great job by you. Only the 2-time coach of the year could have pulled this magic trick off. And it's gonna be a drug, right? Hook it right up to him.
Yeah, but
he's gonna eat that up.
He can take that hit and then still go, well, because he's still not ready. We really magicked it up.
Once you get the first hit, that's all you need, Nick.
There's a couple songs about that, but he can totally go back on that. And I agree. By the way, I think if Shedor's good on Sunday, all those people who laughed, Albert Breer is going to be like, didn't Kevin do a great job? Aren't you happy with that?
They're all going to go to that.
But the problem is, Kevin can still go, well, we moved heaven and earth to make Shedeur look good. I think we should go back to Dillon because it just doesn't take the same effort. It's an easier ride with Dillon. Yeah, that's how it's going to go.
Cut off your nose to spite your face. We've seen him do it before, so I can't put it past him if he does that. But I think I think the realization that he's going to get more credit than he thinks he will, I think that'll be something that'll hang on to. And at least that's just me being desperate and hoping that's the case. But if he looks good, you can't just after one game then say, Shedeur, all right, go back to riding the pine. I think that's an awful look by him.
Yeah, but it's what they're going to do.
I think it's an awful idea if that's the case. And you're right. I mean, you're probably more right than wrong on this. They probably will go back to doing that. And I will once again have to tell them for the millionth time that they are just doing things in an ass-backwards way.
216-474-0092. Does one good game lock in that Shedeur starts the rest of the season for the Cleveland Browns? I don't need to go back to Dillon Gabriel. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. And honestly, the fact that he started more than 4 games is already a real problem if you know he's already a backup. Because then if you're starting a backup as your starter, you're really not giving your team any chance. That being said, I think it's going to be a longer road for Kevin Stefanski. I think it's going to be at least 2 games of good Shedeur. And if Shedeur follows up a good game against the Raiders on Sunday with a bad game against the 49ers the next week, well, I think you're going to be going back to Dillon Gabriel. And now 2 games, I think maybe it's enough. 2 good games, maybe. But I think Stefanski will pull this string out for as long as he can. And I think it goes back to the fear of the noise around Shedeur, the idea of we're afraid of him being the next Baker Mayfield.
I mean, at this point, I would sign up for that fear. You know what I mean? I would sign up for that.
But I don't think one game or maybe even 2 games at best.
No, it takes more than that. And that's why, again, the same way you can't bury somebody after a game and a half, you can't crown him after a game and a half either. But I do feel like you've earned, after the end of that one game, if it looks as good as we're describing, then you've earned the right to see what this is for the rest of the season. Because the other players, you're just not getting anything out of at this point.
Mary Kay Cabot was on with the Morning Boys today. We did play a little bit of her audio in the lead earlier today, but she had a point about Deshaun Watson's practice window and where Deshaun will be next year.
They do not have any kind of a deadline for opening up the 21-day practice window. In a perfect world, they would probably wait until the off-season to put him out on the practice field. There might be a world in which they decide, let's open up the window, throw him out on the practice field, and see what he can do. And I know he would love that. He would absolutely love that. He feels ready to go. But I think that they're going to be very, very careful with him. And he will be on the team next year. He will definitely be on the team next year. There are too many cap considerations for him to get cut or anything like that. He will be around.
So this goes back to the opposite of what we had in the Shedeur and whether one game should change the fate for him. Because there's the what should happen, and then there's the what will happen. Mm-hmm. I'm still praying for some sort of cap genie move that allows the Browns to cut Deshaun Watson this offseason so I don't ever have to see him play again for the Cleveland Browns.
I think when you hear something like that from Mary Kay, though, it puts it on the table. Oh, you're not going to love hearing this, but like it does. It puts it on the table, the idea that if they don't draft a quarterback...
You're rage baiting me.
If they don't draft a quarterback, your starter in 2026 is on the table. It could be Deshaun. Think about it this way. They never activate him. They never put the window. They never activate the window or anything like that and put him on the practice field.
So you save him for 2026.
You do this whole
so you
off
can
season.
do the passable thing that he doesn't suck anymore.
You do the whole off season, and then you enter. You could even draft a quarterback and then have the quarterback start behind Deshaun in this instance as well. Again, do whatever you got to do.
So another 700-day layoff for Deshaun Watson.
See how this franchise works though. Like I could see a scenario where they look at him, they let him go through all the different quarterback competitions through camp, and then the reports come back that he looks awesome in camp because he always has looked awesome in camp. It's been on the field that's a problem, and as long as he stays healthy, I could see a scenario where they actually do put him on the field.
Man, I got to be honest with you. If you would like Browns, I listen. If he has to be on the roster because of cap considerations, I understand it. But Deshaun going into any situation as the starter cannot be seen as anything other than a disaster, especially if he doesn't play at all this year. I think you're right. I think if you're the Browns and you think, you know what, we're not going to take a quarterback, we're going to wait for 2027. Maybe there's another trade down that happens this year to accrue more picks into 2027 for more chances of one of those quarterbacks. And we'll take a left tackle and a wide receiver. And so that way, by 2027, everything's ready and raring to roll with that for that young quarterback. I can see them making that play. But if the play is then to turn around and your quarterback room is Deshaun, Shador, and Dillon, good luck getting anyone to show up week one next year.
They've been trying to squeeze something out of Deshaun since the disaster even started, and then it's only continued. Like I could totally see a scenario where they look at this and say, we don't want to trade for Mac Jones. That's a second-round pick. We don't want to do that. We'll just throw Deshaun out there and let's see how this goes.
I think the problem is, this is very much like the Kenny Pickett thing. This is very much like when they played Dillon Gabriel earlier. The problem with hey, let's throw this guy out there and see how it goes is if he stinks immediately, there's really no hope it's going to get better, right?
No, same thing with this year too. But I'm not necessarily convinced that this year or next year they're trying to win a whole bunch of games as is though, and that's part of the problem.
There's a part of me that just
I hate a lot of what I'm saying in this segment. By the way, I really do.
They have to be too smart, right? They have to be too smart to understand you can't use Deshaun Watson as a bridge quarterback. You just can't. They can't be that. They can't be that arrogant.
They
can't
be.
No.
They definitely can. We've seen them be arrogant before. We got to give them more
credit than that. We're giving them no credit.
I give them zero credit.
But they have to give more credit than this. They can't be that filled with hubris and arrogance.
You heard how confident Mary Kay was there, right?
I know, and I trust Mary Kay's reporting on this.
There's more people that think the way not only Mary Kay did right there, but like when Albert popped on with us, a month and a half or so ago, and was like, so who do you guys think is the best quarterback in that room? And then was trying to make the case for Deshaun Watson, but then it was like Joe Flacco was still on the team at that time. She's like, all right, maybe Joe Flacco is better than Deshaun, but outside of that,
I think
like, there are more people across the NFL that think that way than think the way that me and you think, where I think he's too broke. I think he's too injured, and I think when I meant broke, I mean he's broken as far as his body's concerned, and I just don't think he's very good. But there's not enough people that think like that now.
I'm open to the possibility that Deshaun will have to legally be on the Browns roster next year. If you go into next training camp with Deshaun as the starting quarterback, presumptive starting quarterback, at some point you are just spitting in the face of Browns fans everywhere.